All right. What's up, everyone? Happy Monday. Today we're talking about focus and why you should focus and pay attention and all that fun stuff. You think
look,
it's funny?
a butterfly.
Yeah. The importance of focus and why I want to talk about it is because I think it's the fastest way to get from point A to point B is to just go through what you have to go through to get there.
Right.
There's so many people that want to take shortcuts, want to jump around, want to, in our industry, do all these advanced techniques and whatever. But the fastest way to get to advanced is to go through your amateur stages and just go through them. Don't try to skip them, because every time you try to skip something,
you're going to get a setback.
Yeah, you're setting yourself back.
Yeah.
And it's not moving you forward. And I think that's important for people. And it's something that we notice because over the however many years of having Hello, 3.5, 3, whatever.
Sure.
We talked about
3.
this recently.
Yeah.
We've had a relatively young staff.
Yes.
And some of them are able to focus easier, obviously, than others because human beings and people are different, right? But the people that get to where they want to get to and hit their goals are the ones that aren't jumping around trying to do 19 different things.
Correct.
So I thought it was a fun topic to dive into a little bit and to get your perspective.
Yeah, I think it's important also, if you're going to be like, all right, yeah, I really should focus, then you need to be realistic with yourself and where are you at? I think a lot of people think they're further ahead than they are.
That's a great point. And I just sent out, I think it was last week's email to our email. If you're not on an email list, get on our email list, okay? I send out in a brief email every week that just goes through. But I mentioned at the end the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is basically where novices vastly, like wildly overestimate their ability. Where as you get closer to mastery, you realize how far away you actually are, and it gets scary because you're like, I've been doing this for, 23 years, and I'm not, there's more to learn than I've learned.
Yes.
And
so
it's
true.
Crazy.
I talk about a lot with some of the stylists that have been doing hair as long as I have. And when we were younger, kind of just, I don't even think we cared. We just did whatever. And then now as we're older and wiser, like, wow, there's so much more we can take on and learn from and grow. And it's just amazing. And there's this start, I feel like, for the people that I talk to are just like, I want to learn and apply it too. Not just like learn and watch people. Like I want to like start doing different things. And we're picking one or two things, right? Like this year I want to cut hair with straight razor. Like it's what I want to learn this year. Last year it was sew-in extensions. I'm not trying to learn everything at once. Each year, what do I want to add on? Where I think when you're newer, you're trying to add on everything. You're seeing an end result. I want to be where they are. And you think if you do 5 things, you're going to get where they are. But you've got to realize their journey of how they arrived at that. Like mine took me 23 years. So somebody starting out, I can teach you, but you're not going to be where I am. It's 23 years of experience of up and down and fails and wins and so many things that happened.
You going through the process of let's use the extensions and the razor. So last year you were like, I'm going to get into extensions because I want to. And I was like, cool. You just dialed it in. You didn't watch a ton of videos. You didn't find every extension guru on fucking Instagram and follow their accounts to try to learn all these advanced techniques. You found a very specific coach who you went to or came to see you, I forget, but you worked
I did some color classes with her, but she teaches extensions.
Yeah. So you did, you found a coach, you found a hair pro that specializes in that. And you just
asked them to train me one-on-one.
You asked them to train you one-on-one and you doubled down on it and you just went all in.
I committed.
On just that thing.
Yes.
And now you have a chunk of extension clients 1 year or less later because you focused.
Yes, and
now,
I practiced.
And the reason that I'm going through this, it seems maybe a little silly or boring or whatever, but now with cutting with a razor, you dive into haircuts and you use a razor and you just do it. You don't sit around talking about it. You're not looking for the razor gurus on Instagram. You're not watching a million videos.
Right.
You're just applying your knowledge to a different tool.
Correct. And it makes it fun.
Yeah. And I think that is something that gets left out, is just jumping in and trying stuff.
Yeah. And really truly committing. Like I hired this, her name was Kara. I hired Kara to work with me one-on-one, which means I had to pay her. I didn't pay some Instagram class like to learn like for like less money. It was not cheap. But well worth it. And this is the thing, I wanted to get from point A to B as fast as possible. So I understood what it would take. It took working with someone one-on-one. Then I had them do extensions on my hair so I could learn from that. Like I had to be all in doing all of that. And then it also meant every week, every day I was in the salon. If I didn't have a hair extension client, I was doing it on a mannequin, just like back to school. Like every downtime I had, that's what I was doing because I wanted to do it really well.
So a successful stylist that's been doing hair for over 2 decades. Our podcast is going on 2 years and we've been using 23 years for the whole time. So you must be at least at 24
Must
now.
be, yeah.
Anyways, but so you've been doing hair for well over 2 decades.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that you worked on a mannequin?
Yeah.
You just used a mannequin and some downtime?
Yep. What did I do today?
Wow. 3 or 4? How many?
Yeah,
Did
3.
you do 4?
I think 3.
You did 3.
Yeah.
So
Always trying to improve. And and I've been doing hair a long time. I educate all of that, but I still have to put the work in.
you only get better by reps.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting, I'm not talking specifically about our salon and our staff, but every staff.
Yeah.
If you have downtime and you want to improve on something, you don't have downtime.
Yeah. It's always working.
Get up and do something.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill yourself every day. You can do micro doses of practicing. You can do 5 minutes of, I used to, when I was driving home from barber school, it was about a 30-minute ride, maybe a little less. And I would practice the razor strokes, holding my razor the whole ride home.
Yeah. And practice too, like you can think, oh, well, I watched this video and I was thinking about how I'm going to do that next time. Thinking about it and watching a video is extremely different than applying it and doing it in real time.
So I would say we picked on the social media and the videos, right? Let's talk quickly about distractions because that's what that is. Distractions come in different forms. They're disguised as people trying to help you.
Right.
But if you don't know how to, and this is what we try to do for our staff and what we do with mentoring clients is we try to be filters. I've seen not all, but I've seen when I was in the gym world, I saw all the different techniques. I chose what I knew would work for the majority of people and then adjusted as I needed to individuals. Not a day would pass by without somebody coming in with a video being like, this is what I want to try. And I'm like, no, you can't, you have to practice
you don't
one
have the first
way.
Steps yet.
Yeah. You don't have your
the foundation.
The foundation, like me, I was going to use a squat, for example. People want to throw weight up over their head and catch it at the bottom of the squat, but they can't stay on their heels. Right. You're going to get hurt or you're going to set yourself back if you hopefully don't get hurt, but you're going to set yourself back because you're not really truly.
Well, you're going to create bad habits. And then those are harder to break than just taking the small steps to create the good habits that your body can recognize. Same. So with the people I teach in our salon at this level, I'll say even, pick a comb that you like. Use that comb. Don't go buy 7 different combs. What kind of foils do you like? Stick with those foils. Learn one good foil pattern before you're trying 5 different other ones that you've seen. Just get really good at some simple tasks, and then you can add stuff on to customize it for people or switch something up. But if you just switch all around, you're never going to know specifically what tools are great for you and what patterns or whatever work for you. But that's
all distractions.
Hard because that's boring and that's not cool because that's not what's on Instagram. When I watched somebody, do the foil this way and that way, I want to try all of those. Well, if you're not good at even just one technique, then you're just going to suck.
Right. Yeah.
And be lost.
So I forget his name and it doesn't matter because I'm not going to blast anyone on our podcast, but this guy that he like crumples the foils in a way to like
yeah.
look cool, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you tried that, you at our salon, you wouldn't be there very long. Like, so just because somebody has 100,000 followers that are most likely fake,
right?
No shade thrown at anyone, but sometimes I look at people's followings and I'm like, you have like 1,000 followers, but you get like 900 likes on a like a post, and it doesn't make sense. And you look and you're like, oh, this is all bots.
Yeah.
And I've had it happen to ours too. Yeah. So, but that stuff, like as a young hair pro coming into the industry, or someone that's been in even for a couple of years, a few years like myself, it's so easy to get distracted by those big accounts because you think like they must know what they're doing.
Right.
Not necessarily when it comes to hair. They are good at grabbing attention. That's why they're successful on social media.
Which good for them.
Exactly. That's why I said I'm not throwing any shade because I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just not always about the hair. It's definitely not about the client. It's about them getting you to watch them, buy into whatever they're doing.
Right.
And either follow or subscribe to whatever their newsletter or whatever, or pay money. So social media is one distraction. Personal stuff is a tough one to deal with. We all are humans. We all have different stuff going on outside of work, inside of work. You're gonna have to probably, and I'm not telling anyone what to do, but what I would do is if you need to focus and you have a lot of stuff going on outside of work, try your best not to bring it into work.
Yeah, I would agree.
Work is work, period. Treat it like that.
And it'll be a refreshing place for you to go.
I was just gonna say it might even reinvigorate that space for you.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with that completely.
if you are someone that likes to, I remember your last salon, we don't really have a broke room dynamic at the salon, but in the last salon that Jen owned, there was this dynamic of like rush to the break room as fast as you can get to the break room. And there was nothing good happening in the break room. It was like a club after 2 a.m. There's nothing good going on there. You should leave. So yeah, work should be a place where you can work and focus and practice whatever you got to practice.
Yeah.
Workplace dynamics could be a distraction. I think luckily at our salon, our culture is sort of like...
We work really hard for that, yeah.
Yeah, it's drama free. And if there is drama, it doesn't last very long. We haven't had many people we've had to let go, but people kind of weed themselves out if they're dramatic. And
well, and I think that points towards good leadership. Like if little things come up, I'm in there more than you, and I just address them. Hey, what's going on with this? What's going on with that? I don't let it linger. I don't let it go anywhere. And it is what it is. So that really does help create a positive culture and a staff that understands you're going to always be working towards that because you're always taking care of it.
yes.
Check.
I don't have anything else to add to that.
Very focused.
No, it's great. If you can eliminate that stuff. So if you're not bringing work, or if you're not bringing home issues or anything outside of work issues into work, and you don't have any of that intra work bad sort of stuff to deal with because you deal with stuff right away, then you can focus. Like if you're practicing a technique, so say you're practicing even a haircut, you get a basic haircut, you're practicing it on a mannequin or a friend or whatever. If your mind is like, I got to tell this person they didn't clean up after themselves or whatever, you're not focused.
Correct.
So by dealing with stuff immediately or within a timely manner, you know, like if you have a disagreement with someone, I'm not saying grab them on the floor of your salon because the salon owner or manager is probably going to have an issue with that. Yeah. So deal with it in a timely manner, but get that done. Definitely boundaries will help with that stuff, and all the time management stuff that you can, I'll let people research their own stuff on that, but just mindfulness and
creating boundaries that work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And always, we've talked about this, I feel, a lot on the podcast, but with creating boundaries, it's really ones that you can uphold. So don't go out and be like,
that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah. You don't want to go out and say, I listen to this podcast, I'm going to do all these things. Like, again, 1 or 2, where are you actually at in reality? What few changes can you make to be successful, to focus better and create those boundaries? It's baby steps. You don't just become a new person or a new way of thinking overnight. It is small steps to get you there.
No, I talk about
and
nudging.
Consistency.
Oh yeah, consistency. So reps over time.
Yeah.
is where it's at as far as making an impact or a change anywhere. And I use the term nudge a lot because you don't want to jump in, like you just said, Jen, and change everything all at once. I mean, maybe you do. There's probably a time and place for that too, but
not everybody can handle that. The emotional part of that and everything that comes along with it. So
right. I would encourage people to, like you said, just even one or two things, or set aside it. If you can't focus at the salon because you're catching up with your friends and all that stuff, fine. Have a mannequin at your house where you set 15 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. If you did 15 minutes a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, you would be better than most other people that aren't doing that.
Right.
I doubt the majority of hair pros are practicing anything new very often. Right. I would doubt it. They do online classes so that they can say, I invest in my education. And I would encourage people too to do some self-reflection.
Yeah.
And be aware of yourself. Be aware of where you're at, truly where you're at, and what you need to work on.
I think that's really important.
And the reason I say it is because we've had people come in and make all sorts of crazy claims. And then you watch their work and you're like, that's none of what you said is true.
I think they want to be there.
And that's cool. I want you to be there too.
I generally see with people like that, they don't want to put the work in either. They're, no offense, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but the people I've seen that promise they're good at all these things, whatever, and I try to teach them and they're the ones hiding in the corner, or they finish up real quick and they're like, I'm good, I'm going to take a break. Like, they don't truly want to learn, which means they're never going to progress.
Right. It's difficult because you are putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation. That's what it breaks down to. And you're exposing yourself, you're opening up yourself to have somebody that, in this case, it's a salon owner. So I'm just using it as an example, but you're opening yourself up to that person and you have to show them your weaknesses. That's not easy.
But if you want to improve, that's the only way.
Right. Because how do you know?
You need constructive criticism.
How do you know
need someone to show you.
Right. How do you know what steps to take?
Yeah.
Odds are you've seen some crazy technique online and that's what you're trying to go for when you don't have, again, that foundation down. I think that goal setting is probably something that would help people with this focus as well. And I'm big on, I know it's cheesy, it kind of feels corporate-y, but the SMART goals. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Yeah, Google is your friend. But yeah, just setting goals for yourself because it holds you accountable to yourself. Now, if you want outside of accountability, then you can find either a mentor or a partner or whatever at your salon and say, hey, I'm working on this. Will you check in to make sure and
accountability buddy. Those are good.
Knowing that you have to tell someone that you did or didn't do something really makes you do it.
I would agree. I use an old school planner where I write stuff in it and check stuff off, and that works for me. And actually the one you just got me has like goal setting in it, which is really cool.
I'll have to check it out. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's neat.
I was like, I got you? Okay, cool.
You did.
What else do we have? So I think, just looking through, I have a few like rough notes here, but continuous learning is great. Again, you mentioned it earlier. I think you just said it, but getting the knowledge and not putting it into practice, into effect is not going to help you.
Yeah,
I promise you.
Even as long as I've been doing it, like you said, I was just downstairs doing a bunch of mannequin work for a class I'm teaching, but first thought was like, oh, I can just wing this. And then I'm like, I can't. Like, I have to actually do the work, like show up, and I want to show up and do a great job. But if I don't do the work and do it hands-on, I'm not learning. Like, there's always a miss. Like, you have to do that. I actually wished I had somebody from the class I took these with to like do it with me, but that just wasn't the case. But when you learn something online or watching, you have to do that work. Like, you have to do it. Like, if you're watching a haircut online, then go get a mannequin and do the mannequin while you're watching it, or do it afterwards. Like, otherwise you're not retaining it. You're not retaining that knowledge at all.
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me. I think the other side, we kind of touched on it already, but the mentorship or guidance from some sort of professional source.
I think it
doesn't have to be a long-term thing. Nope. I was going to say, and it can be something that's very specific, very focused, like what you did with extensions. You found a specialist who taught them. You worked with her. Boom, done.
Yeah. A quick investment.
You didn't have to
quick
go
return.
travel to her salon every week.
Right.
You just focused and she put together whatever you were going to learn. And I wasn't there, so I can't speak to it. But
and we did some manica work, and then we did some work on real regular people. And then
she
that
probably
was it.
watched you, and she probably gave you feedback, and you probably applied that feedback.
And I reached out when I had to troubleshoot and send pictures and called it a day. That's true learning.
I guess the really last sort of thing I had was the mental and emotional sort of well-being.
Yes.
This goes back to the nudging and the changing one or two things at a time. So if it's hard because you want to do everything. When you finish school,
you're
want
excited.
to do all the haircuts. You want to do all the colors. You want to do everything.
Everything you can.
And that's normal. Mm-hmm. But when you're actually trying to get better at one of those, you're going to have to focus on one of those at a time.
Yes.
And I'm not saying you can't do multiple things in like a week. Like I'm not saying you couldn't work on, if you're a barber, your shaving service and your whatever, fading or whatever.
There's ways to couple things together. Yes.
Yeah, of course. But you're not going to do like, and I've seen this, you're not going to do like a little bit of like a couple things of shaving and walk over and grab your clippers and start cutting a mannequin and then be like, I'm bored with this and go back over here. Right. You're not focused. That's not going to help.
Pick two things to work on that month and work on those.
Right. At separate times.
Yes.
So it can be again in the same day, but I would kind of break it up, have a spacer, and don't try to do too much all at once because you're going to burn yourself out and get frustrated and potentially ruin something that you could love doing in the future. And no one wants to see anyone miss out on an opportunity,
right?
To be excited about whatever it is, you know, say it's extensions and you try to do too much all at once and you find yourself like frustrated and then you give up,
overwhelmed.
And it's like, you really wanted to do that. Why aren't you doing that? And you're like, it sucks. Not for me.
And that's sometimes where really having with anything, a mentor or an accountability buddy, as I call it, really is important for that growth and that progression because they'll keep you on the right track and also will tell you, hey, I think you need to take a break. Like, let's move on from this for a few days and then we're going to come back and we'll revisit it. Like, clearly something has to click and it's not there. And sometimes we need to be told to take a break, you know? And that's like, it's really important for your growth to have that.
I just gave someone a break a couple weeks back. Oh, you were there. We gave someone a break. I don't know who even said it. It might have been you, but we had somebody that we mentor and we were like, you are on a break. You are on a timeout. It's official. She was becoming overwhelmed and stressed and about things that I don't think she needed to, and I don't think she meant to. Right. It just things started piling up and you feel overwhelmed. And having someone in your corner that has your back to say, yo, chill out and we'll see you in a week.
Right.
So that's all I have. I want to start making these episodes a little more brief.
Love it.
So we didn't nudge it and bring it down like, 40 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. We're at 20 something minutes.
Yeah, we're just going with it.
But I think that's good. You have anything else you want to say?
No, that was it. I think that's great.
All right, cool. Well,
holler if you need us.
Yeah, holler if you need us and focus.
Have a great day.
All right, take care.